I had rehearsed the whole thing in the mirror that morning, posture straight, chin up, smile, confident but not cocky. The blazer was my mom's, slightly loose in the shoulders. My jeans were dark and pressed, no rips. My braids were neat, tucked back in a low ponytail. I looked like a girl who came to earn something. The receptionist barely looked up when I walked in. Her eyes dragged across me in one quick pass, the kind of scan that doesn't really see you. Just labels you. "Hi," I said, keeping my voice clear. "I'm here for the 11 interview, front desk assistant position." Her lips pulled into a smile that never touched her eyes. "Name? Amira Maddox?" She tapped something on her screen. "Take a seat. He'll be with you shortly." I sat. The chair squeaked under me. A guy in a tight suit walked past, glanced down at me like I was the janitor's daughter waiting for a ride. I pretended to scroll my phone, heart pounding. My resume was in my lap, double-checked for typos. 3 pages, clean, sharp, 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Finally, a tall man in a pale blue button-down appeared at the doorway. His jaw clenched as soon as he saw me. "Amira?" he asked, voice clipped. I stood. "Yes, sir." He didn't shake my hand, just motioned with a slight tilt of his head. "Let's talk over here." We walked toward a side office. I sat down. Across from him, folder ready, heart racing, he didn't sit. Didn't even glance at my resume. So, he began, hands clasped behind his back. "We're looking for someone a bit ... I blinked. "Polished? This is a professional environment," he said, waving vaguely toward the hallway like I hadn't noticed the glass doors and overpriced decor. "You know, clients walk in here. First impressions matter." I leaned forward. "I have a 4.0 GPA. I captain the debate team. I volunteer at the library every Saturday. I'm punctual. I don't get in trouble. What else do you need?" He smiled, tight and fake. "It's not about qualifications." "Then what is it about?" He shrugged, like it wasn't personal, like it was just numbers. "It's just not a culture fit." There was a long silence. I stared at him. "You mean..." I looked ghetto. His face froze. "I didn't say that," he snapped. "Don't twist my words." "No," I said, throat tightening. "Because that's exactly what you meant." I said professional, he repeated, his tone harder now. "Let's not make this into something it's not." I wanted to scream. I wanted to shove my resume in his face and yell, "Look at me. I worked twice as hard to be here." You don't even see that, but I didn't. I stood up slowly, nodded, and said, "Thank you for your time." He didn't offer a handshake. Just watched me leave like he was relieved. I walked past the receptionist, who didn't look up. Outside, the air hit my face sharp and cold. My legs moved on autopilot as I walked to the bus stop. I sat down and stared at the folder still clutched in my hand. My GPA didn't matter. My resume didn't matter. My voice didn't matter. All they saw were my braids and my skin. That night, over dinner, I barely touched my food. Mom asked how it went. I said, "It didn't." Dad looked up from his plate. "What happened?" I hesitated. He said I wasn't polished enough, that I wasn't the right fit. Dad's eyes narrowed. Did he say why? He didn't have to. I looked at him, jaw tight. He took one look at me and decided I didn't belong. He nodded slowly. "Not surprised? Not shocked? Just ... name?" He asked. "Mr. Lucas." He didn't say anything after that. Just nodded again and stared at his plate, jaw clenched. That silence told me everything. Mom placed the casserole dish in the center of the table like she always did, humming under her breath, pretending everything was normal. I just stared at my plate, fork limp in my hand. I hadn't touched the peas. Couldn't even look at the chicken. My appetite had died. Somewhere between that man's smirk and the receptionist's fake smile, Dad poured himself water and passed the pitcher to me without a word. "You okay, sweetheart?" Mom asked, taking her seat. Her voice was soft, but I could feel the concern tightening behind it. I shrugged. "Guess. You guess?" I swallowed hard. I didn't get the job. There was silence for a second. Then the clink of Mom's fork. "Oh, honey, I'm sorry." "Did they say why?" I nodded. "Said I wasn't a good fit." Dad raised an eyebrow. "Did they look at your resume?" I gave a bitter laugh. He didn't even touch it, just stared at me like I tracked in dirt. Mom's face froze. What exactly did he say? I hesitated, eyes on the table. He said they were looking for someone more polished, that I didn't match the culture. Mom blinked. What? I looked up at her. He didn't say I wasn't qualified, just that I didn't fit. Dad's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Did you get the manager's name? Mr. Lucas, I said, forcing the words out slowly. White guy, tall, acted like I was wasting his oxygen. Dad leaned back in his chair, staring at something far away. You sure that's what he said? I dropped my fork. What, you think? I made it up? I didn't say that. You think I'm exaggerating? That maybe I misunderstood? He sighed. No, but I've learned people sometimes hear what they expect. I heard him, I snapped. He looked me up and down like I was something he stepped over. He didn't even pretend? Mom touched my hand. He told our daughter she looks too urban to work there. That's what he meant, isn't it? I nodded. He didn't say the word, but I heard it anyway. Loud and clear, Dad crossed his arms. I'll handle it. I laughed, loud and bitter. Handle it? What? You gonna send a strongly worded email? They don't care. He glanced at me, eyes narrowing. I said I'll handle it. No. You'll let it slide, like always. Let them treat me like garbage because you think staying calm is strength. That's enough, he said quietly. I pushed my plate away. They already see me as trash. His voice was sharp now. Don't say that about yourself, ever. And then why do they treat me like it? My voice cracked, hands clenched into fists on my lap. Why do I have to work twice as hard just to be told I don't belong? No one spoke for a long moment. Mom looked down, her lips pressed together, eyes glistening. Dad's face was still. Too still. I worked for days on that resume, I whispered. I practiced my answers. I showed up early. I looked him in the eye. I was everything I was supposed to be. And it still wasn't enough, I finished, barely above a whisper. Dad took a slow breath. It's never been about what's enough, it's about who they're willing to see. I looked at him. Then why didn't you say something? Why didn't you warn me? He met my eyes. Because I hoped. Just once, maybe they'd see you for who you really are. I swallowed the lump in my throat. They didn't, I said. I know, he answered. Silence again. Just the tick of the kitchen clock and the buzz of the fridge. Then Dad stood up, took his glass to the sink. I said I'll handle it, he repeated. And I meant it. I wanted to believe him. But I wasn't sure who he was trying to convince, me or himself. Grab your coat, Dad said, holding his keys like he was late for a meeting. I looked up from my textbook. Where are we going? He didn't answer right away. Just stood there, waiting, calm, too calm, to talk to someone. He finally said, Talk. I hadn't been able to think about talking to anyone since the interview. My mouth was still filled with words I couldn't say that day, the words I swallowed while that man looked me up and down like a problem. A person. I followed him to the car, silent, my chest tight with whatever this feeling was. It wasn't hope. The second we turned into the same corporate plaza, I stopped breathing. You're joking. He didn't even look at me, just kept driving. Dad, just trust me. I don't want to go back in there, I said. I can't go back in there? You're not walking in alone this time. That didn't make me feel better. We parked. He opened the door without another word, and I followed, heart pounding. Hands clammy. The same smell hit me, too clean air, coffee and money. Same receptionist. Same glance up and immediate judgment. Her smile flickered the second she saw me. Then she looked at Dad and froze like she couldn't figure out why a man like him would be walking in with me. Can I help you? She asked, voice tight. Dad stepped forward, calm, polite, deadly. Is Mr. Lucas available? She blinked. He's in a meeting. Tell him Robert Maddox is here. Her fingers trembled just a little as she picked up the phone. Dad turned to me and whispered, Stand tall. I tried. Moments later, Lucas came around the corner, half smiling like he'd just come back from lunch with a client he didn't recognize. Me at first. Can I help? Dad didn't wait. I'm Robert Maddox. CEO of Meridian Holdings. Lucas blinked, his eyes darted to me. His face went pale. Dad didn't pause. And that girl you dismissed for looking ghetto? That's my daughter? Lucas's mouth opened, but no words came out, just air. I didn't realize exactly. There was a silence so thick I could feel it pressing against my ribs. I didn't mean. He tried again, but Dad cut him off. You didn't think she mattered enough to even ask her name. That's the problem. Lucas cleared his throat, tried to recover. Mr. Maddox, I assure you. No, Dad said. Don't assure me. You need to ask yourself. Why my daughter, with a better resume than half your staff, wasn't even worth a 5-minute conversation. Lucas looked at me again, actually looked, and I saw something flicker in his eyes. Shame? Fear? It didn't matter. She wasn't dressed appropriately, he mumbled, weakly now. It was a matter of presentation. Dad tilted his head. Her presentation was professional. Her GPA is perfect. She's articulate, focused. You rejected her because you didn't like how she looked. Let's call it what it is. Lucas opened his mouth, closed it. You judged her by her hair, her skin, and the parts of her you didn't understand, Dad said, his voice steady but cold. And you made her feel like less than nothing for daring to walk into this building. I stared at the floor because I couldn't meet Lucas's eyes. Not yet. We'll be in touch, Dad said. Turning without waiting for a reply, I followed him out, my chest tight and hot. Once the doors closed behind us, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. You didn't tell me you were. Coming here, I said. He kept walking. Would you have come if I did? I hesitated. No, he nodded. That's why I didn't. I looked up at him. Why'd you do that? Because I built my name from the ground up, and no one gets to make my daughter feel small. I swallowed hard. You said you'd handle it. I said I'd show them who you are, he said, and who I am. I didn't say anything else. I didn't need to. Mr. Maddox, I can assure you, you don't need to, Dad said, voice calm as ice. Lucas blinked like he'd misheard. Excuse me? I said, you don't need to assure me of anything, Dad repeated, slowly, clearly. I'm buying this company. Silence. The air between us thinned out like a vacuum had swallowed it. Lucas laughed once, nervous, sharp. This company isn't for sale, Dad raised his eyebrows. Your board disagrees. They've been courting me for weeks. I blinked. Wait, what? Lucas's face turned pale. His mouth opened, then closed again. I leaned toward Dad, voice low. You never told me that. He kept his eyes on Lucas. I didn't want to. Why? Not? He didn't even flinch. Because I wanted to see how they treated people who didn't look like me. I felt my chest rise and fall like someone had punched the wind out of me. He let me walk into that building alone. He let me sit in that chair, face that man, swallow that insult. Because he needed to know, Lucas tried to find ground to stand on. This must be some kind of misunderstanding. I don't think Dad stepped forward. Would you have said that to a white girl? Lucas's mouth worked silently. Like he couldn't decide what answer wouldn't destroy him. Dad tilted his head. Would you have dismissed her with a 5-second glance and a line about not being a culture fit? Or would you have asked about her resume, her qualifications, her background? I didn't mean anything racial, Lucas began. I cut him off. You didn't have to. We heard it anyway. Lucas finally looked at me, really looked. His eyes didn't hold that smug detachment anymore. Now, it was something else, panic, maybe. Or guilt. It was a misread, he stammered. I made a snap judgment. Yeah, I said. You did. Dad folded his arms. And that snap judgment told you that my daughter wasn't worthy of a minimum wage front desk job in a building she now helped run. Lucas swallowed. I wasn't aware of who she was. That's the point, Dad said. She shouldn't have to be anyone to deserve basic respect. Lucas shifted his weight like the carpet under him was turning to sand. I'm not racist, he muttered. I stared at him. You think racism is a feeling, like it has to come with shouting slurs or burning flags? You judged me based on how I looked. That's racism. Lucas flinched. Dad didn't move. You didn't see a girl with ambition. You saw braids, melanin, and confidence, and you labeled her a threat? Lucas looked down at his shoes. Say, It, I whispered. Say what you saw when I walked through that door? He shook his head. I didn't say it, I said again louder. Or just admit you didn't see a person at all. His lips parted, but no sound came. Dad exhaled, slow. You've got until the end of this week to clean out your office. HR will be informed this afternoon. Lucas's head snapped up. You're firing me? You're lucky that's all I'm doing. I felt my fingers tremble at my sides, not from fear, from the weight of watching the mask slip. You thought I was? Nobody, I said. And maybe I was to you? But even if I was just another black girl in line for a job, I still deserve better than what you gave me. He nodded stiffly. You're right. I looked him dead in the eye. But if I wasn't Robert Maddox's daughter, would you even be saying that now? He didn't answer. Didn't have to. I already knew. So you set me up? He didn't answer right away. He just walked into the kitchen like it was a regular evening, like the last 24 hours hadn't cracked me open in front of strangers. Dad, he opened the fridge. Want something? To drink? Don't change the subject. He closed the door, 2 bottles of water in his hands. He set one in front of me, sat down and met my eyes, calm, steady. No, he said. I hoped I wouldn't have to. I twisted the cap off the bottle. More to do something with my hands than because I was thirsty. You knew they were gonna treat me like that. You let me walk in there alone. I didn't let you. You asked to go. You were proud of that resume. Yeah, I was. And you should still be... I swallowed. My throat felt tight. You just sat back and waited to see if I'd get stomped on like some kind of test? His face didn't move, but his voice softened. I wanted to believe maybe for once they'd see past the packaging. I laughed. Sharp and bitter. The packaging, the braids, the skin. The fact that you don't code switch like most of us had to. He paused. You're better than me, you know that? I shook my head. That's not what this feels like. He rubbed the bridge of his nose, the way he always does when he's carrying too much inside. I've dealt with these people my whole life, he said, quiet. Ivy League degree, billions in investments, a name that shows up on Forbes still, get stopped at airports, still get asked if I belong at the parties I'm headlining, still get told to smile more by men who think my silence is aggression. He looked up. You think that interview was new to me? I think you should have warned me. I did, he said. My whole life has been a warning. The words hit harder than I expected. I thought you didn't feel it, I whispered. You don't act like it hurts you. He leaned back in his chair, hands folded in his lap. Because if I show them pain, they think they've won. I stared at him. So you hide it, he nodded. Every day. That's exhausting. It is. I rested my elbows on the table. I thought the money, the success, I thought that would protect me. His smile was sad. Wealth makes them tolerate you. It doesn't make them see you. I felt my eyes burn, but I blinked hard. I wasn't going to cry. Not now. So what now? I asked, voice low. Now, he said. We show them what grace under fire looks like. I stared at him. What? Does that even mean? It means we don't yell. We don't beg. We don't shrink. We show up in every room they told us we didn't belong in, and we own it. And if that's not enough, it won't be, not at first. He leaned forward, voice firmer now. It will leave a crack. And sometimes all change needs is a crack. I let the silence stretch, let the words settle. You're not angry? I asked. Oh, I'm furious, he said, and something in his tone made the room colder. But anger's a tool. And I don't waste tools. I nodded slowly. I wanted to scream at him. I know. I wanted to make him feel what I felt. He looked at me, and for the first time his eyes weren't calm. They were tired. Not weak, just worn from carrying too much for too long. That's what they want, he said. They want the angry black girl. They want the outburst, the explosion, so they can feel superior when they call security. So I just smile while they spit in my face? No, he said. You smile when you take their keys. That hit different. I don't want to be like you, I said quietly. He nodded. Good. Be better. But learn from me. I nodded. Too, then whispered, It still hurts, I know, he said. Let it. Just don't let it hollow you out. We sat there, no more words left. Just a table between us and a fire that had been burning in both of us for longer than either of us admitted. I didn't feel healed, but I didn't feel alone either. And that was something. You should have seen his face. I was pacing in the back of the school courtyard, voice shaking with leftover rage. Phone still buzzing in my pocket from group chat messages I wasn't ready to read. Ava sat on the bench, legs crossed, eyes tracking me like I was a storm cloud getting too close. He couldn't even say the word. Just kept mumbling about culture and professionalism like I walked in there barefoot. She pulled her sleeves over her hands. That's awful. Awful? I stopped. Ava, he looked me in the eye and decided I didn't belong there. Didn't ask a single question. Didn't even pretend to consider me. I know, she said, voice small. No, you don't, I snapped. Because this has never happened to you. She opened her mouth but didn't say anything. I folded my arms. You always say we're equal, but that's not what the world sees. I didn't say we were treated the same. I laughed once, bitter. You say stuff like, you're lucky your dad's rich? Like that's armor? Like that erases everything else? I didn't mean it like that, she muttered. No? I tilted my head. Then what did you mean when you said, maybe? They just didn't know who you were? She looked away. I took a step closer. What, like I'm not worth respect unless they know I come with a billionaire last name? That's not what I meant. Say it, I said. Say what you meant? She sighed, biting her lip. I just meant, maybe they assumed. Assumed what? I pushed. That I wasn't qualified? That I was there for a handout? That I must be poor and loud and uneducated because I'm black? Her eyes flashed. Stop twisting everything. I stared at her. Twisting? She stood now. You always do this. Do what? Make everything about race, she snapped. Sometimes it's just a bad interview. Not everything is racism, Amira. I froze. The courtyard went quiet. Even the wind stopped. My voice dropped. You think I want it to be about race? She hesitated. I didn't get to choose this, I said. You think I walk around hoping people discriminate against me so I have something to complain about? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. My chest felt like it was caving in. You think I'm dramatic? That I'm playing some card? That I'm making it up? I walked into a job interview with a perfect resume, clean clothes, a respectful tone, and got shut down before I even sat down. And you're over here acting like I imagined it. I never said you imagined it. You didn't have to, I said again. She looked like she wanted to cry. Or scream or run, I didn't care. I needed you to back me up, I whispered. Not question me, not make excuses for him. I was trying to help. No, you were trying to explain it away so it wouldn't make you uncomfortable. That's not fair. It's not fair that I have to earn humanity every time I walk into a room. She looked down at the pavement, silent. I'm not your project, I said. I'm not your badge of wokeness. I'm your friend. At least I thought I was. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did. We stood there in the quiet. She finally whispered, I guess I still have things to unlearn. I nodded. Once, not out of forgiveness, just acknowledgement. I'm tired of being the lesson. I said, we didn't speak for the rest of the week. The boardroom was colder than I remembered. Not in temperature, in energy. Everyone sat too straight, blinking too often. Like they already knew. This wasn't going to be a typical morning meeting. My heels echoed louder than they should have as I walked in. I wasn't even supposed to be wearing heels. I hated them. But I needed the sound. I needed every eye in the room to follow that click. Dad stood at the far end, hands clasped in front of him. Calm, steady, unreadable. Lucas was already seated. His tie slightly crooked, eyes darting between his phone and the door like he wanted to crawl out through the carpet. I didn't sit. I walked straight to the head of the room and stood where the glass caught every reflection, and I breathed. Dad looked at me once. Just once. Then nodded. I want to say something, I said. Nobody stopped me. I applied here last week. I submitted my resume, showed up early, dressed neatly, and brought every qualification I could fit on 3 pages. I was told I wasn't a good fit. Someone at the back shuffled in their seat. I was told, without it being said outright, that I was too urban. Not polished enough, that I didn't fit the company culture. I let the words hang. Lucas shifted in his chair. I didn't look at him yet. I know what that means. You think I don't, but I do. Too urban is code. Not a good fit is camouflage. No one moved. Even the air seemed afraid to breathe. What it really means is, you looked at my braids and my skin and decided I didn't belong. A gasp. Quiet murmurs. One guy at the table lowered his eyes like I'd just said something obscene. I looked directly at him. I'm not here because my dad is the CEO now. I'm not here because I'm angry or loud or dramatic. I'm here because this happens every day to girls who look like me. Lucas tried to speak. I raised my hand. Let me speak, please. His mouth closed. I'm tired of being told I need to smile more. Speak softer. Straighten my hair. Change who I am just to get half a chance. I paused. I'm not your checkbox. I'm not your diversity hire. I'm not your PR band-aid. A woman at the end of the table looked down at her hands. I'm qualified. I've worked hard. I've spent my entire life being twice as good for half the credit. And still, I get told I'm too much. Too bold. Too black. A sharp breath caught in someone's throat. I'm not your threat, I said, voice low but steady. I'm your future. Finally, I turned to Lucas. You judged me without knowing a thing about me. And now you're sitting there, trying to decide if you should apologize or defend yourself. He opened his mouth. Don't, I said. Just listen. He closed it again. I'm not here to humiliate you. I'm here to remind you that people like me walk through your doors every day. And we see everything, the looks, the fake smiles, the invisible walls. Someone finally whispered, damn, and it was the most honest sound in the room. I looked at my father. He gave the smallest nod, not approval, not pride, just permission. I turned back to the room. Stop making us invisible. Stop pretending you don't know. Stop asking us to teach you while you keep hurting us. I let the silence thicken, let it press against them like it's pressed against me my whole life, and then I stepped back. I'm done. No one clapped. No one moved, but every eye stayed. On me, not because they had to, but because they finally saw me. Can we talk? His voice trailed behind me like a shadow I didn't ask for. I stopped in the hallway, my hand still on the door handle. I didn't turn around. Please, he added. I looked over my shoulder. You need more from me? Lucas looked smaller without the suit of authority. Or maybe I was just seeing clearly now. His tie was gone. Top button undone. His hands fidgeted like he was still trying to fix something that didn't want fixing. He hesitated, then sighed. I didn't mean to be racist. I turned fully now, stared at him. But you were, he flinched. I didn't mean to be. You keep saying that like it makes it better. He looked away, toward the office door we'd just come from. Like maybe someone would rescue him. Like maybe he'd find a version of the story where he wasn't the villain. You don't understand what it's like to be... Stop. I stepped forward. To be what? Misunderstood? Judged before you even speak? Shut down in rooms you work to be in? His mouth opened, but I didn't give him a chance. Try me. His shoulders sank. I thought you'd be angry forever. I am angry, I said. I'm angry. You thought my voice didn't matter until it came with a last name you respected. I'm angry that if I were anyone else, if I didn't have a powerful father, you wouldn't even remember me. He swallowed. You're right, I kept going. I'm angry at you, yes. But not just you, at everything that makes this normal. That makes people like me invisible until we become inconvenient. He nodded, but his eyes were wet now. I didn't think it through. I just I saw you, and I assumed. Say it. I said, his brow furrowed. What? Say what you assumed? He hesitated. I'm not doing this for fun, I snapped. You want redemption? Say it out loud? He looked at me. I saw a young black girl and thought, loud, trouble, untrained, poor, maybe angry. I didn't blink. I didn't see confidence. I saw attitude, he said, voice shaking. I didn't see ambition. I saw threat. Silence. He wiped his eyes. I'm sorry. You should be. I am, he repeated, for that moment. And every moment I never questioned it. I nodded slowly. It's not about one moment. It's about the pattern, The silence? The doors you close before people even knock. He sank into the chair by the wall like his bones couldn't hold him up anymore. I don't want to be this person, he whispered. Then don't be. I don't know how to start. I crossed my arms. With truth. Then with listening. And then with change. He looked up at me. You're not like I expected. I laughed once. Neither are you. I expected you to stay defensive, stay proud. He shook his head. I'm too tired to pretend anymore. I tilted my head. Good, start there. We stood in silence again. Not hostile, just honest. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. I'm not offering it, I replied. Not today. He nodded. I turned toward the door again, then paused. Next time someone walks in with braids and confidence, I said, see a person. He met my eyes. I will. I didn't say goodbye. Some doors don't need closing. They need rebuilding. I sat cross-legged on my bed, pen shaking slightly between my fingers. The page in front of me wasn't fancy, just a torn-out sheet from an old notebook, but it felt heavier than anything I'd written before. I didn't plan it. I didn't even know what I was trying to say at first. My thoughts kept looping. Lucas's face, his voice, that boardroom full of fake neutrality. Ava's silence, my own reflection, but then the first words came. I forgive, but I don't forget. I paused. I don't forget the way he looked at me. The pause. The dismissal. The words he didn't say, they screamed louder than the ones he did. My hand moved on its own. I'll wear my braids like a crown. Every twist, every curl, every part of me they call unprofessional or too much. That's power they can't take away. I swallowed the lump forming in my throat. My fingers clenched tighter around the pen. They don't get to shrink me. I'll be everything they fear. Educated. Proud, unstoppable. A tear hit the corner of the page. I didn't wipe it away. I'm not going to become bitter. I'm going to become undeniable. A soft knock broke the quiet. I froze. Yeah? The door creaked open just a little. You okay? Dad's voice. Low, warm, careful. I wiped my cheek with my sleeve. Yeah, just writing. He stepped in, slow. You always write when something matters. I smiled faintly. I guess I do. He stood there watching me, then looked at the page in my hand. Want me to read it? Not yet. He nodded. Okay, I looked up. Thank you. He raised an eyebrow. For what? For standing beside me. For showing up. He stepped closer, leaned against the dresser. No, he said. Thank you for reminding me why I built all this. I tilted my head. What do you mean? I spent years fighting to be seen, to be respected. I thought if I got far enough, earned enough, wore the right suit, used the right tone, I'd change the system from the top. And? He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Turns out, no matter how high you climb, they still see your skin before your name. I nodded. I already knew. But you, he said, you walked into that room and made them see you. Not because of who I am, because of who you are. I looked away, throat tight. I felt so small that day. You didn't look small, he said. You look like the future. My eyes stung again. He stepped forward, and before I could react, I was in his arms. Tight, steady, safe. We didn't say anything else for a long time. Just stood there, silent, but full, and I realized something. Maybe healing doesn't come in speeches or courtroom wins. Maybe it comes in quiet moments. Like this, when someone finally truly sees you, not as a threat, not as a quota, but as a person. Whole. Worthy. Human. I'm here, I say, ducking under the banner that reads, Welcome interns. A cluster of new faces turns. I feel their eyes skim my braids, my clean sneakers, my confident smile. Morning, I call out. Voice steady. A woman with a clipboard, HR, I guess, pots me. You must be Amira Maddox. That's me, I reply, extending my hand. My sneakers squeak softly on the polished floor. She glances at my resume. Follow me to orientation. I fall in line behind the other interns. Whispers swirl. That's the CEO's daughter. I catch the words and tilt my head back. I'm also qualified. Remember that, they blink. Eyes widen. In the conference room. Plastic chairs scrape. Lucas appears at the door, expression neutral. I meet his gaze. He nods, just a faint, almost apologetic movement. I nod back. No words needed. Welcome, HR says. We're excited to have you. She drones on about benefits and schedules. I tuck my inner impatience behind a polite smile. I watch Lucas slip in late, rubbing his temples. He meets my eyes again. This time, it's brief relief recognition that I'm here on my own terms. Lunch hour. I walk into the cafeteria with a tray. A group at the corner table tenses as I approach. Mind if I gesture to the empty seat. A guy in glasses shrugs. Go ahead, I sit. He shifts, leans back. The table murmurs, what's it like? The guy whispers, my fork hovers over salad. Being the CEO's daughter, he swallows. Yeah. I take a bite. It helps open doors. A pause. You don't seem like the type who needed doors opened. I smile. I needed one here. I point. I'm interning in marketing. The woman next to him leans in. So you're here to learn? My voice is calm. And to work? They nod. Conversation shifts to campaign ideas. I contribute. They lean closer, nodding at my points. Afternoon meeting with the social media team. Lucas stands at the front, projector humming. Amira, he says quietly when I sit. I meet his eyes. Yes? He clears his throat. I reviewed your proposal draft. You nailed the engagement metrics. Heat warms my cheeks. Thanks. I spent last night refining copy. He gives me a small smile. Good work. Later, I'm drafting posts when my phone buzzes. A text from Dad. Proud of you. I type back. Thanks. Learning a lot. A coworker peers. Over. You're the CEO's daughter? Her tone is curious, not mocking. I nod. Yes, and qualified for this desk. She laughs softly. Fair. I smile. Let's get to work. By 5 p.m., I've tackled more tasks than most interns my age. Lucas stops by my desk. You handled today well, he says. I glance up, folding my hands. I handle every day well. I showed up. He nods, as if that settles it. I pack my bag. Sneakers click in rhythm as I walk past the reception desk. The same receptionist raises an eyebrow, then offers a genuine smile. See you tomorrow, Ms. Maddox. I pause at the door. My braids bounce as I turn. Call me Amira, I say. She smiles wider. Amira. Outside, the evening air feels different. Colder, sharper, charged. I inhale deeply. I carried every expectation today. My surname, their gossip, Lucas's scrutiny. And I walked in saying, without words, I belong here. My sneakers hit the pavement like a drumbeat of protest. My braids sway like banners. I'm not just the CEO's daughter. I'm the intern who earned her place. Tomorrow I'll walk back in the same way. And the day after that, Ghetto looks good on me.